There are some crazy rumors going around right now that there could be a Mandalorian game in the works, and it could be exclusive to Xbox. So welcome back to another episode, which seems to be almost a weekly or a monthly event now of what's on Phil's shelf. So Phil was at the Games Beat Summit hosting a conference, and while he was talking, obviously people are going to be checking out what's on his shelf because his shelf has been the gateway to many rumors recently. Firstly, Ludens we have here, which led to that rumor of Kojima working with Xbox, which is continuously picking up steam. Then we have the Nintendo Switch, which leads to that rumor that Xbox is working with Nintendo. And now there is a new figure on his shelf, and it's, I guess if you're looking at the screen, because you can't see my cursor. Oh, you can't see my cursor. It is this guy right here, which apparently was a Mandalorian, and that is not a Mandalorian. But the rumor has come out that there is a Mandalorian game in the works and potentially could be an Xbox exclusive. So to get the breakdown of what went on here, it's on Reddit here on Gaming Leaks and Rumors. And this was first started by a tweet from Special Ed. And what he says here is, okay, so you'll notice there's a Mandalorian Funko on Phil's shelf. Yes, someone is making a Mandalorian game. Not sure who yet, sorry. And then he tweeted that with the picture of Phil Spencer and his background and the Funko Pop of the Mandalorian behind him. He then went on to delete that tweet because I guess he made a mistake tweeting it out. And he says here, okay, so a little bit of whoopsie. Yeah, there's going to be a Mando game, but that's apparently not a Mando Funko. I might have just said something I wasn't supposed to yet, hoping I didn't just burn my source. Got some apologizing to do. And then he says under here, yes, M23 correct. I thought it was a Mando and asked my source based on a Mando being there if I could mention the game. And it's because somebody posted his tweets on, I believe, Reset Era, and they commented, if it was Mando Funko Pop, I think the source would have figured that Phil was teasing it anyway since it was on the shelf. Now, all this being said is that it seems pretty clear now that a Mandalorian game is in the works. And with Special Ed tweeting that out and then deleting it because he tweeted it out by mistake, kind of gives away that it is in the works by Xbox or for Xbox or something along those lines. So you have to take that part with a grain of salt, but I think you can be pretty sure that some sort of Mandalorian game is in development, meaning that we could potentially see some sort of announcement for a Mandalorian game in the near future, maybe at E3 or maybe down the road. Now, with all rumors, obviously, make sure you take all of it with a grain of salt. I know people get sick of hearing the grain of salt saying, but you got to say that with these rumors because nobody really knows right now, and I don't want people's hopes getting way up there and then them getting completely crushed if none of it comes true. But let's just take a look at potentially some more things that could show us that this game could be an Xbox exclusive game. So on the last Defining Duke podcast, Maddie talks about how PlayStation has taken the direction of like the Marvel studio. We saw Avengers with the exclusive Spider-Man content. Obviously they have these Spider-Man games on the console, and Xbox is trying to take the avenue of being the console where you play the Lucasfilm IPs. I mean, we've already seen Bethesda is making Indiana Jones, and then he'll mention something here that I'll let you guys listen to.
For Xbox to come out swinging and really send a message. This year is 100% it.
Yeah.
It's why I said, well, I'm not a fan of their CGI approach that they've taken in a couple of games, that if you're going to announce something big,
right,
that is IP based, we'll say, that you probably want to do that ahead of time to let people know what's coming. Kind of like what they did with Indiana Jones, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's almost guaranteed it'll be an Xbox exclusive, and I'm sure Xbox is going to try to put, because what we're seeing develop here is, right now, it looks like PlayStation's the Marvel console, right? You've got Spider-Man on Avengers.
True.
You've got Spider-Man PS4. We got Miles Morales. I think Xbox probably wants to take that's what I heard. Xbox wants to take the Lucasfilm route. So we're seeing that with Indiana Jones. And there is another developer from the first-party Xbox team that I've heard is working on a pretty well-known IP. So
there you have it, what he says there. One thing, firstly, that's interesting is that he strongly believes Indiana Jones is going to be a first-party Xbox IP when it comes out. Obviously, it's being made by Bethesda. I 100% agree with them, but if you look around on social media, people are thinking that out of some of the games that are coming out that were either previous deals or were already being worked on for other platforms, Indiana Jones potentially will be multi-platform, but I don't think so. I think Indiana Jones is going to be a first-party Xbox game that is exclusive to the Xbox ecosystem and Game Pass. And then he mentions that another first-party Xbox game studios is working on another IP that is pretty well known. And I would say right now, out of all the Lucasfilm IPs, The Mandalorian is the most popular and most well-known IP that they have. And The Mandalorian is an awesome show. Like, season 2 was incredible. One of my favorite shows that I've seen in a pretty long time. And every time I sat down and watched an episode of The Mandalorian, I'd always think to myself, this would be the absolutely perfect IP to turn into a video game. It would just be so simple to kind of take that concept and put it into a video game, and people would love it. I mean, an open world third-person action game playing as the Mandalorian, just think about how fun that would be. And the fact that all of this stuff is starting to come out around the same time. We got all the leakers talking about the Mandalorian. This sounds like it could be true. It's just the way that's just the way it sounds. I don't know what else to put it. It's just how I feel when I see this. I'm really excited. If you guys can't tell, when someone first asked me if I heard about the Mandalorian rumor, and I hadn't, then I looked into it. I went onto my Twitter feed and I saw Special Ed's tweet was still there from like 4 hours ago, but I guess it had preloaded in my Twitter. And when I clicked it, it wasn't coming up and it got deleted. So then I started looking further into this stuff, and it's extremely interesting. Now, this isn't the first time that Star Wars and the Mandalorian and Xbox have done something together. I don't know if you guys remember, but there was this special edition Xbox One controller for the Mandalorian, which was it's a first party product designed for Xbox, and it's the controller with the stand for $224.99. I don't know if that's the price they released at, or if that's just the price right now because it's out of stock and probably a pretty cool collector's item. But this isn't the first time that they've worked together. We've seen Bethesda and Indiana Jones. But I think, like he says in the podcast, they are looking at ways to try to counter what Sony has in Marvel and in the Spider-Man IP. And Lucasfilm IPs would be a great counter to that. So who knows what this means? Who knows if it's going to come true? But maybe they'll share something at E3. I think this year's E3, Xbox has to and will come out just absolutely on fire and swinging and giving us so much information about stuff to be excited for in the future. I think this is the year they got to deliver. And I mean, there are a lot of rumors out there. And if even just one of these rumors came out and came true at E3, it would be pretty big, on top of first-party Xbox game studios that get announced and that potentially are coming out this year. All of this together is going to culminate into just mass hysteria if it comes true. But I'm excited. E3 is going to be a lot of fun. And Star Wars games, we know that the IPs are out of EA's hands now. So anything can happen when that with Lucasfilm. We know that Lucasfilm, they're starting to brand themselves under the Lucasfilm Games banner, and we don't know exactly the direction they're going to want to take with that. But one of the first moves they did was give Indiana Jones to Bethesda, and that could have been the beginning of their working relationship with Xbox. Anyways, guys, that's it for me. Let me know what you think about this in the comments below. I know this was more of a rambling style of video because this is a crazy rumor. I didn't expect this to pop up when it did, but I would love to hear your thoughts, and if you would like to see this come true. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that thumbs up button. If you're new here and you like what you see throughout this video, I'd really appreciate you hitting that subscribe button to help this channel grow so we can just have more just great fun conversations about this stuff that is always seems like it's going on in the video game industry weekly now. But thank you guys for watching, thank you for your support, and I'll catch you in the next video.